up a seat at the bar to join us for another episode of McAnally's Pubcast, a podcast exploring the fun and fantastical mind of Jim Butcher's The Dresden Files series. Hosts Tanzan, Maggie, and me bring you another round of literary analysis on this immense, immersive, and colorful environment inhabited by Harry Dresden, the world's only licensed private investigator and professional wizard. Join an active and engaged community of new and die-hard dedicated fans focused on the fabulous themes, theories, characters, context, lore, and more. This is McAnally's Dresden Files Pubcast by Free Flow Rambling. Conjure by it at your own risk.
Welcome to the McAnally's Pubcast, brought to you by Free Flow Rambling. This is episode 12.4, Dizzying Heights of Idiocy, where we are covering the novel Blood Rites. My name is Tanzan, and I'm joined by Maggie.
Hello, hello.
And Jess.
What came first, the music or the misery?
Thank you to our Patreon subscribers for your generous support. It's people like you who help us to do what we do. If you're not yet a Patreon subscriber, sign up today and get a fuck ton of bonus content, kick-ass merch, behind-the-scenes outtakes, and more. Sign up today at www.patreon.com/freeflowrambling.
Chapter 5. Harry returns to his apartment and gets information from Bob on the White Court vampires. Harry sends Bob on a mission with Mister to find out where Mavra is hiding, and incidentally learns of the nature of Arturo's films.
I love his opening statement of, I got back around late o'clock.
He's learning his lesson, Jim Butcher.
I'm like,
late o'clock. Mm-hmm.
I've gotten home a few times then, too.
Half past vague.
Yeah.
But as we had in the last book, constantly being like, this is at 10 p.m. and this is at 8 a.m. and this is at daybreak and this is at sunset and this is at 4 p.m. creates problems when your character is doing either one thing or 45 things in those times.
Right?
So yeah, late o'clock. Keep it vague.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are people like you that actually go through and like...
Well, I mean, to a point, though, like...
I always forget, like, once they say a time and date, I'm like, it's already gone.
Well...
When I was reading these books for pleasure, it never occurred to me. Now that I read the same chapter 45 times in a row before we actually sit down and record it, I'm like, bitch.
How did he get that done?
There's no way.
Yeah, exactly.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Yeah, you let a lot more things slide back then, you know? It's like, there's still a few things that come up now where I'm like, I've always wondered about this, but you're right. There's a lot more things where it's like, I never as obsessively was like, when did this, you know? I do like to keep a kind of timeline in my books. Sometimes I'm like, wait, wasn't it just, you know, wasn't it just dinner? I find that more, though, in visual media. Specifically, the most recent causes I can think of, it was watching Suits. And they'd be, like, in Harvey's office, and it's, like, daylight, and then they're, like, blah, 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 and they come back, and it's, like, evening, and then it's, like, they come back, and I'm like, when was this, right? So you're like, is it winter? Did it, like, because you're like, is this the next, like, are they in his office at, like, 10 o'clock at night at things, or is this, like, winter, where it just suddenly got dark? Like, a minute ago it was 2 o'clock, and now it's 4 o'clock, but yes, it is pitch black out, because that's what happened. Like, you know, it's things like that, where sometimes I'm just, like, I get so confused about suddenly being light and dark. I'm like, did we change a day? Is this still the same day?
Listen, the plot only works if day is only 6 hours, okay?
Oh, well, yeah, maybe, but, you know, it's, I just, for some reason, I don't know, I'd have to go back and rewatch, but I just remember a few instances of that, where it was just, it seemed to confuse me a lot, where it'd be like, okay, we've gone into the evening, or, like, you know, the restaurant is, like, dark, and then they go back to his office, and it's light, and it's, like, such, like, a really, like, ambiance thing. It's, like, twilight in this restaurant at all times, but really, no, it's still noon. I don't know.
There's a solution to things like this. You just film everything so far up north, it's either always going to be dark.
Well, and that's the thing, because theirs was all a set prop anyways.
I was going to say, I was like, it's fake. You just make it daytime if it's daytime. You can make it dark if it's dark.
Which is why I would get confused. Like, exactly. It's not like they had some kind of, like, filming issues where they're like, we're losing light. We need to get, you know what I mean? Because, I mean, again, they were supposed to be in New York.
They had hiring issues is what they had.
Apparently, I just couldn't follow what the...
As we're all aware now, okay, executive studios are paying the CEOs, okay? Not the lighting guys.
Not the, right. The truth will out. Anyways. All right. So, yes. She gets back late. Mr. immediately takes umbrage.
Yes, he's very disapproving.
What is that?
I love the words that Harry uses to describe temporary.
Yeah.
Featherweight.
He's just a little guy. Just a little puppy.
I know. It's just hilarious to think of it because, again, Mr. being this very large cat, like, you're right, just about anything as a puppy is going to be a lightweight compared to...
A very large man and his very large cat and his very tiny puppy.
Harry tries to call Brother Wang, but the number's already been disconnected.
Apparently he didn't have, like, a roaming cell or something, this Tibetan monk dude guy. Yeah, I was like, that'd be so weird, like... Because I get, like, again, like with the whole Father Vincent thing, I'm like, okay, I have a phone in my hotel room. So that is how I will communicate with people while I am in another. But it's sort of weird that he's like, he had a phone line or something set up. Like, he had, but it's like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not just like his hotel line or like where he was staying. It's like, well, what was his whole, like, did he have like a burner phone while he was in town? Or... was it like a landline or something that they just deactivated for a week? Like, I don't know how these things, what they would have, I don't really know how monks travel to begin with, and you know,
clearly by WestJet.
what amendments or not you may or may not have in that, but yeah.
We could really write a whole other book just based on this experience, I'm sure.
It's like the what ifs and the things and that.
Yeah.
So first I had to go back to this chapel. Right there. Point being is, yeah, he's definitely incommunicado. He's not incommunicado? He's not getting in touch with this dude.
No.
So backup plan. Let me just ask Bob to babysit. And no offense, but I'm like, why is Bob so perturbed by this? Bob's like, oh, my job sucks. I'm like, your job rocks.
We get that same repeated description of Harry's house, but I think for the first time I didn't realize that he slept on a twin bed.
Yeah.
Like, and I thought it was like at least like one of those small doubles. Like,
So as we've mentioned, Harry don't get a lot of action.
He's made Susan share that bed with him
Yeah,
before.
good thing Susan was nice and small and
He's
and
6-something.
6'9"-ish is yeah.
maybe I gleamed over it. Maybe I've said this before and forgot it. I don't know, but it's saying actually a twin size bed. Like,
Yeah,
oh my
and to be
God.
quite honest, I cannot recall off the top of my head if this is the first time they sort of specified. I don't remember if they've. So yeah, I'm like, I always kind of knew, but again, I don't know if it's because I got to this point and realized as well, or if he does mention it right away that he's got this little twin bed. But part of it, yeah, because he does always talk about how small and tiny, right? Because like his bathroom is in his bedroom, like there's no other part, right? So yeah, I was like,
talk about cozy.
yeah, well, that's Harry's whole point, right? He's like, it always makes me think of, I don't know why I don't even know what episode it is, but it's some Simpsons things and something about driving, and he like yells at the guy in the car, and it's like one of these little tiny like smart car things, and then the guy gets out and he's like 8 feet tall, he's just like crammed into this car like a clown car or something. I'm like, that is Harry's like entire existence, except for the fact that I've known people that have VWs and they're actually fairly large and roomy inside, so that's why he fits in the bug. But yeah, his apartment is just like a clown car essentially. He's like,
Me and my tiny little space.
yeah, it's just, everything is just teeny tiny. It's like I can touch one wall and the other across like this entirely. But what I want, I've tried to look and I've never seen. So again, when these books started and he said, I got a picture in my mind of Harry's apartment. And then over the years in the books and the side stories, it slowly has got right. So like, for instance, if I thought you came in his front door and then like his little kitchenette was to the right and his bedroom was off to the left.
No, the kitchen is off to the left.
Well, this is the thing, right? Now everything's and I thought I would see it as like, so if you were standing at his front door facing in, so to your left was like the fireplace, like along that same wall, and then on that perpendicular wall was exactly right. But now I'm like, no wait, his fireplace is like across from his front door.
Your image is so wrong.
It is. It's gotten so, and I keep trying to sort of correct it, but it's hard to go past. So I need somebody to draw me Harry's apartment.
I'm going to lay the facts out for you right now. Kitchen's to the left, living room is directly in front of you, fireplace is directly across from the front door. Bedroom is also to the left, but not as left as the kitchen, okay? There's nothing to the right. It's just the living room and the bookcases, okay?
Yeah, see, but it still gets very, because then he's got the stuff by his door, like his, I know.
There's an entryway, but there's nothing
I know,
else
but
there.
it's all gone, and I've tried to look, because I figured at this point, because again, yeah, very early on, no. I'm like, at this point, somebody out there has.
I found somebody had made a diorama, and I've been looking for it for a long time since, and I can't find it. but of Harry's apartment
Yeah.
in his lab. But I think they based it off the TV show and not the books.
Fair enough. So see, I want somebody who has a more visualistic mind than me.
Door south, fireplace north, bedroom northwest, kitchen west.
And see, she just said blah, 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 blah to me.
Well, no, I do.
Fire escape windows for Mr. to sneak out in later books.
All right, I'm going to
You just
fire
said
up
there's
The
nothing on the
Sims.
east wall.
And
Yeah.
we're going to build it.
Okay, Mr.
No, building in Sims is hard. I'm
Mr.
bad at it.
I 3D print
I could do that part if you just tell me how.
His name is Matt.
D&D figures and like unicorns for my daughter and whatever. Yeah, exactly. You type of people that have a much more geometrical mind.
Spatial.
Spatial relation. Thank you. See, I was really...
I have super high spatial relations, but I don't have the language connection for myself. So
Yeah,
I can't translate what you're saying here to visuals in my mind, but if I see it, fine. Done.
Yeah, and spatial relations is not my greatest forte, absolutely. I know that because I took an aptitude test once and it said so. So, yeah, anybody that is willing and able, I would like, please, an accurate rendition of Harry's apartment that I can fix my little brain with, because now it just warps every time. And it literally, like, changes places within a scene, and I'm just like, ugh, I can't do this anymore.
So, underneath this, however it looks, basement suite is a secondary lair with a lab, and it's much easier to visualize, I hope, because it's just a table in a room.
And it's got a circle on the bottom.
1,000 shelving units around it.
See, it doesn't. But the table isn't just a table. There's like a U-table all the way around, and then the table will run down the middle that leaves the alley, and then all the stuff, and then all the shelves. So yeah, I mean, I have somewhat less, but I'm
You
pretty
just
sure
wanna be confused.
I'm pretty sure the circle has moved a couple of
It's
times.
one room, okay?
Yeah, I know. So is most of Harry's apartment. It's just where things are oriented within that room. It's not that it's one room that I have an issue with.
You go down the stairs, the circle is right there in front of the stairs, okay?
Yeah, see, and
then Bob's bookshelf is to the right of that.
I should, in my very bad stick figure way, I should map out sort of like where and then when somebody actually
tell
like
you you're
present, yeah, I know, and when somebody can actually, and I'll be like, this is how I. But anyways, yes, he's down in the lab talking to Bob.
And you get the rundown on how he came to acquire Bob, which is the whole same thing. Justin Dumoulin, personal Darth Vader, so sad, boo-hoo for me. Which is a little bit of a...
Just recap, just a little exposition,
Right.
for anyone.
Yeah, we learned that the coin that Harry sealed has been silent since he did the sealing. Bob notices the puppy, and we also find out from Harry explaining to Bob that he can't send a message because the mountain is warded. So that's another strike against Harry trying to find
Yeah.
Brother
Yeah.
Wang to get this
You
puppy back.
stole a temple. I did not steal it. Okay, I'd love to get it back to him. I just can't figure out how.
Right, so the coin was whispering to him, and he sealed it up into this thing, and now we have confirmation that actually did work. It was an effective strategy, and he has been, not retconned, but essentially we can be like, okay, we just came off of a really horrible book, but it's fine. It doesn't matter. Forget that even happened, guys.
It's right.
It's good.
Yeah, I just block that.
Forget
away.
about it.
Regress memory or repressed memories, that kind of thing. Although I still find it interesting that while he was doing this, there was no mention of any commentary from Bob, and Bob still isn't saying anything about it. I'm like, Bob's got to fucking know that you did this thing. Bob likes to comment on everything.
I feel like this is a big thing that Bob would not want commented on. When Harry wrote down the symbol, Bob was like, erase that right now. Rip it up, burn it. What the...
Maybe, but just you think the fact that, exactly, that's what he did to the symbol. So when Harry brings home a coin, you think Bob would have been like, what the fuck, how do you, what? I just find it funny that we got nothing in Harry's thing, so it was like...
I imagine, too, that was a conversation that they had and determined together, like, what am I going to do
Well,
about
this is what I'm saying. I'm like, I can't
circles,
see
circles,
him not,
circles.
but-
Let's bind the shit out of this thing and bury it and try to forget about it, both of us. We're not going to mention it. We're not going to talk
But
about
normally he'd at least say, I asked Bob, and Bob gave me a really good glyph ward to write on it, or so. You know what I mean?
It was also in the last chapter, and we're trying to wrap up the book, not trying to continue the story.
it. Yeah, it's just sort of like when...
I think it was a good, just done and done.
Totally. When you see, like,
Yeah.
a season finale, when things have just been going, like, so horrible, and you're ending on this, like, horrible cliffhanger, and you've got, like, all the characters, like, doing, like...
Fair
that, like,
enough. So yeah, this would have been a good place. You could have addressed it here, been like me and Bob talked about it. Bob doesn't think, but again, right, I'm like, he just has no mention and Bob makes no reference to it, and I just find it, it doesn't necessarily have to be a big thing. It was just something I kind of was like, I just felt like there should have been, like, some kind of but it just feels like, I'm like, there's no way he could have missed it, like, by no mention. It's like, Bob doesn't know it exists. I'm like, well, he must know it exists.
It also is just maybe they're, on different wavelengths, The things that Bob can perceive and act on, maybe they're just not the same. It just doesn't have anything to do with his version.
Yeah, I feel like that doesn't apply to this, but whatever. Whatever. They've chosen not to, whatever. It's fine. I just think it's slightly interesting. But yes, not what's going on right now. And yes, he wants to leave the puppy down there, which
Bob does comment on.
And I do get it. I feel bad. So, like, he finds a little box and puts, like, some his old robes or whatever. So I'm like, okay, that part's all cool. That's all fine.
Damn it, Harry, I'm a voyeur, not a veterinarian.
Yeah.
Gotta love a Star Trek reference.
Always. Thanks, Bones. But
right now I'm in my 4th year at UCLA.
I want to be a veterinarian because I love children. Do we ever post that performance of Jessica's? We can still do that.
Nope.
Now we've had a good reference to it. Now seems like a great time. But I get what he's saying. He's like, because Bob's all like, what are you doing? And he's like, well, I can't take him up there. Mister's gonna, like, eat him. And I'm like, I totally get that, absolutely 100%. But I'm like, but at the same time, you're just ditching this puppy down here in the lab all by itself. I mean, okay, Bob.
A room that has, like, depleted uranium
and I mean, I guess not accessible. Now, Harry has also mentioned we've got our nod to the fairies again about how neat and tidy everything is, which is wonderful, but he won't let them in his lab because I get part of me is like, oh, well, what are they going to do? Again, if they can keep everything neat and tidy and aren't allowed to touch anything, that would be good because it is notoriously but I also get how he doesn't want them down there and touching.
You don't want
to
give things that much knowledge, okay?
But I don't know. I just
knowledge
feel like
is power. The tiny little fake.
But I feel like
you don't know if those brownies are reporting to something else.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. I just feel like they coulda, shoulda, woulda known what's going on down there, anyways. You know what I mean? But anyways, I get that that's his space. It's kind of like, some people don't like when things change or they don't have control over certain things. Doesn't relate to anybody here in this room, but I've heard that there are people like that. Tanzan, you just hold your tongue there. And this is Harry's, right? He's like, you can wash my dishes and change my cat litter, but this is mine. You no touch it. And I get that, right? I've had roommates
God
and things like, stay out of my bedroom.
The recording center from the left side of the room to the right side of the room.
It wasn't just that. You made us try to
change our cords
as well.
It's the plugins that's the problem.
Yeah, we don't so much care where they're.
The outlet doesn't matter. It's the fact that you want me to touch her stuff.
Yeah, and try and give me hers. I don't want. It's a thing. I don't know why, but it's a thing.
See what I'm working with here, people. See.
And she just springs it on you when you walk in the door.
You don't even know that she's about to ruin your life.
They made up words for it. They called it people shui.
Yes. Because she's like, but the feng shui is so much better. I'm like, you did not consider the people shui, though. We are not flowing. We are not calm and centered. Our mic stands are hidden in a broom closet that didn't exist before, and our amp thingy now lives where our mic stands used to be, and
Kind of looks like an amp, doesn't it?
I don't know, mixer board. I don't know. There's a reason you're the tech person, not me.
It's got a big black box.
Yeah, Jansen's big back box is in the wrong way, and it's just throwing us all off.
It looks like those subwoofer boxes that you used to do for cars.
Yeah,
Except it's got,
lots
recording
of
equipment in it.
buttons and a placemat.
It's pretty.
So yeah, apparently the feng shui is better, but me and Jessica are going to take a while to recuperate, okay? I'm just saying.
It's rough out here.
Very. You do not appreciate the blood, sweat, and tears that go into this production, people.
So many blood.
So many tears.
Not a lot of sweating, at least.
Well, not now that we're getting out of summer again.
Oh, having to move this thing around, there was some sweating involved.
No, fair enough. At least we missed that part of it.
So, absolute, total, favorite, amazing, badass moment is that Harry is all like, fuck doing all this passive shit and letting people come and attack me. I want to be the one going and doing the attacking.
Yes.
Hello, Bob. We've got work to do. We're going to go fuck up some vampires. We done it once. We done it twice. Let's go for 3.
I love this. Where Bob asks him what the plan is, and Harry's like, we're going to kill them all in their sleep. Like, oh,
Yeah.
heavy hand much? Yeah.
So vindictive and just
What I love is Bob is like, all right, cool, I like this plan for a change. Yeah, Harry's like, exactly, I'm tired of like, trying to fight fair or meet them on there or what, you know what I mean?
And
He's
yeah,
like,
good for Harry. They showed their cards and told him we're in town.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's Harry's turn to move
Harry's
now.
like, yeah, fuck this. I'm tired of y'all sneaking up and trying to get the drop on me while I'm doing other stuff. I'm just going to boot y'all on the head first and then move on with the rest of my shit, right?
And especially with how shitty last book was, too, when it was just like, 3 guys showed up on his lap, all on, Larry Fowler's show, basically, and it was like, hey, we're here to cause problems for you, like, and he had no choice but to just roll with the punches.
Yeah.
I'm totally all for Harry being like, okay, my move now.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Forget defense. I'm going on the offensive. Let's just nip this in the bud right now. Let's not wait and see why you're here or what. The Black Court, we don't like you. Let's just stake you in your coffins.
It's
exactly.
a huge step to take, and I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Because Harry's normally about trying to be sort of fair and why. Well, again, he's... Up until he started moving out into these bigger moves and cases, is exempt. I mean, and even in part of that's we've seen the first couple books, right? When Murphy's like, oh, there's supernatural bad guys, let's go kick butt. And Harry's like, you can't get involved. And Michael's like, there's supernatural bad guys. And Harry's like, no, you gotta, like, yeah, but there's all these supernatural rules and hierarchies and protocols and manners and things and right. So Harry's been kind of trying to keep that balance and live within the rules, and now he's like,
I guess that the gloves are off, so to speak, because there's a war on. So like
that too.
Like, I mean, would he be considered like
that?
Would this be considered a war crime? If he does it?
How much else? Yeah, how much more can he do?
I don't know. Like, would the Wizards support him if he'd be like, yeah.
The Red Court is very clearly trying to recruit all the other vampire factions to their cause, so it's not a war crime, okay? The Red Court specifically said, Black Court and White Court, come join forces with us, let's all go to war together, so I think nothing is off the table now.
Yeah.
Everyone's at war with each other. But especially coming off of Harry being all like, or everyone to Harry being all like, why do you do this? Why do you do this? Why do you do this? What are you doing it for? Why are you just being some passive guy in a phone book? If you're gonna be this big, powerful wizard, then fucking say you're this big, powerful wizard.
Yeah.
And I like that Harry is fully like, as we've said, he's not so passive anymore. He's like, all right, people want me to fucking choose a side? Let's go to war.
As
Fine.
Murphy would say, Harry's putting on the boots.
Nice callback.
Yeah.
That's good.
He's like, all right, let's just,
It's great to watch Harry put on the boots.
Absolutely. And then, like you say, like at the masquerade, right, Mavra was very much there as an ally and supporter of Bianca, right? So, right there, the blacks and the reds were already, allied, committed, right? So, exactly. I don't think there's any question there about...
Yeah, this is totally fair as fair.
Yeah, absolutely.
Enough of people showing up in town and being like, I'ma kill Harry, okay?
Right, well, yeah, he's tried to be like, hey, guys, I don't want to pick a fight, and now they just keep showing up, so now he's like, all right, fine, I'm just...
Read the ad, people. I'm looking for lost wedding rings, okay? I didn't want to cause a war.
Yeah, right. So yes, that is a very exciting. I love how Bob's automatically just like on board. He's like, oh, that's just very whatever review he says.
The Scourge.
Scourge, yeah, I like that. That is actually a cute moment too. Okay, hang on.
That's atypically vicious of you. That's an atypically vicious plan, Harry.
Yes, an atypically vicious plan. And he's like, yeah, I was proud of it too or something, wasn't he? Or is that?
Yeah, I liked it too.
Yeah. Yes, and then, yes, that is a very cute line where he's like, yeah, what do you call them? A gaggle? A pass? I'm like, well...
An orgy of vampires.
I'm sure, yes, if you want to be correct or whatever, yeah, you just go... If you really want to piss off Mavra, I'm sure you go right ahead and call her gaggle of vampires. But a scourge does sound very much more, especially because well, at least in my experience, one of the most often heard uses of that is the scourging of the Lord kind of a thing, right? Where that was like the vicious whipping with the barbed, right? So it's scourging is not nice. You don't want things, and again,
is that the word origin?
Yeah, I would assume because that's all I know of. It's like either like a clear.
Because I haven't heard of that reference. So.
I've never heard that Bible reference before.
Okay, well,
it's not my most.
Neither of y'all have ever been to church as much as I have, but we don't use the word
like
scourge
the Spanish Inquisition.
a lot. Yeah, well, a little bit, but I mean, yeah, it's because I know they talk about like a scourge across the earth or whatever, like plague and famine and whatever, and it just kind of wipes out everything and. So, okay, so yes, the historical use of it is a whip used as an instrument of punishment. So whip, horsewhip, lashing. 2, a person or thing that causes great trouble or suffering, the scourge of mass unemployment. So, Right, so it's being used a little bit more as but yes, again, it's not a word we typically use on the daily in our language anymore. Point is, Scourge is very, very bad, not nice. Black Court, very, very evil, not nice. They're not friendly and sexy like the Whites.
So Harry's like, I gotta go to bed. Everything sucks, and this is the last chance I'm gonna have to sleep for the next novel. And then Bob, smartest guy in the room, is like, whoa, you've got a case with Arturo Genosa? You're the coolest guy on the block, Harry.
Wait a minute. My spidey sense is tingling. You know who this guy is? You like this guy? Bob, who's this guy?
Erotic features. It's a very tasteful way of
Critically
putting it.
acclaimed erotic features.
4 stars, 4 boners? What's the difference?
Those aren't trade journals, those are porno mags. But yeah, as far as Bob is concerned, a critic's a critic, so yeah.
I'm with Bob on that one, honestly.
Well, he makes a fair point here. He's like, Harry, you just told me you got hired by the White Court. What did you figure? Yeah, okay. Yeah.
And now we know they keep pestering Thomas to take up an acting role. Okay, got it.
Right? Here you're just like, oh yeah, Thomas is pretty. He should be. And Thomas is like, no. I mean, it's so cute now when you think about his comments. You know, I don't look good on camera. It's like, Thomas would look freaking fantastic.
First time I read that, though, I thought maybe it was like a supernatural on camera was the issue. It was like, oh, your eyes are going to be all like glowing red, or vampires can't be seen on film, or like...
Yeah.
That's what I was expecting, like Thomas's whole like, oh, I'm so demure. No, I could never. Oh,
Yeah.
Come to find out, no, Thomas just doesn't want to be on camera, which is weird.
Yeah, you think you would.
Don't understand his hang-up.
Well, and I think this says...
A lot of freebies for him, right?
I think this says something to Thomas is on a couple of things, which the one hand I don't know if we can't really say much about, but I think some of it speaks to a certain level of his commitment to Justine, and why he was so upset with Harry. Well, she doesn't know anything, she's just a doe. And if she's just a doe, nobody will bother her. If they know this is the woman I love and want to protect and actually cherish, because I'm supposed to be a not blood-sucking, but a
Playboy.
blood-sucking thing of the night, right? You're not supposed to get its food, right? You're not supposed to, we make judgments about people that want to, marry their apple pie or whatever, We're like, that's not a normal, healthy relationship with your food, and that is all Justine is supposed to be. But of course, she is a person, and he is in love with her. So that's where, right, it's going against. So he's already, again, on the outs from all his people and stuff like that, right? You're not supposed to make loving, caring connections. So I think that is part of why, again, I'm sure Thomas doesn't have any particular moral judgments about it, but maybe he's like, I don't want to be in a porn movie because I've got Justine. I don't need to go and bang everything that walks. I could at any given moment. I don't want to.
I mean, it could also be very obvious that he's feeding.
It could be.
It's like on camera, they'd be like, wow, that looks kind of fucked up.
It could, yeah.
My coworkers lose their lines every time I'm in a scene,
Jessica, it's porn. What lines are there really?
I'm watching for the plot, okay?
Yeah. And have you yet to find one?
No, but I'm going to keep looking just in case.
I think in a little bit we can get into perhaps some more of the reasons why, but we haven't sort of addressed some of that yet either. So
right.
But yeah.
Lots of speculation.
There's some speculation there. Is yes. Why would Thomas be unwilling to participate in this? But
Harry asks Bob what he knows about the White Court, specifically about Thomas's behavior with Justine. Bob explains hunger and the symbolic spirit white vampires have and are born with.
Capital H.
Yes. Capital A. And this is an interesting thing that they're born with.
Yeah, and I actually was asking, I put a note in here, it's like, does that mean procreation is the only way of creating a White Court vampire?
So we will find out more about that in this book, thankfully, but this is the first hint at it that we've got, right? So we know that Mavra and the Black Court are your typical Draculas,
You get turned a little bit more zombie-like.
You get bitten, you get turned, you get all these aversions to sunlight and garlic and steaks and things, right? Then you've got the Red Court, again, as evidenced with Susan. You get bitten, you get turned, you become this other kind of bat-like, more typical vampire thing, right? Turns out, oh, wait, you don't like whites don't turn each other by like biting each other, or even through not that biting wouldn't be, but through asexual acts, since we know that they already sort of are these emotional sex charge, right? So yeah, apparently they get born, but they're born with like
Born
a
and
thing.
cultivated.
But they're born with this demon inside them, kind of. So it raises a whole other interesting aspect and makes you go, I want to find out more about these guys. What?
The whites are a cool
Branch?
another version of, another branch of the vampirism, right? Obviously, they're much more, succubus, incubus than your typical vampire, but...
Right. And I was just thinking, too, like, that does that even seem like they are even a vampire if they're, like, they are really more a succubus than anything?
I guess it's one of those, like,
Like, I was just thinking vampire is really just a giant umbrella term in this universe.
huge, yeah.
A little bit, yeah. But, I mean, again, it is, like, we've all met those emotional vampires, right? It's kind of synonymous with sucking things dry, whether that happens to be your literal blood or your emotional tolerance or your life force, right? So, I mean, yeah, to me, like you say, it's different. We're not exactly where the blacks and the reds go specifically for sucking your blood, bahaha. But yeah, I'm like, the whites do suck out your life force is really what they're after. They just, the Thomas and et al. Like to do it through sex. We will learn, again, that you get some other mentions that not all white court vampires feed the exact same way. Not all of them feed it through simply sexual means, kind of a thing, because it's the life force that is getting drawn off. So, yeah, I'm like, I think it still, like you say, does kind of cover because of that whole just like sucking you dry kind of a thing.
be
but
fair,
it's
with
very different from
any and all fantasy. Everyone wants to have their own spin on the
Yeah.
supernatural, right? So the rules of what a vampire is change from content to content to content to
It
content.
does. And
just so happens that Jim Butcher wants lots of different kinds of vampires, so
yeah,
you gotta
and
load
he
lots
does.
of different rules.
He himself does refer to them exactly as incubi and succubi and stuff like that. He's not making any distinction there that they're not the same thing or whatever. But it's just, yeah, they still are a form of vampiric parasitic.
Well, and it is an interesting way to do it by throwing them in courts, too. Like, that's...
Yeah, I kind of like,
Like
yeah,
that
that way
political
of,
sort of
how
I like the supernatural, how it's broken up into
Yeah.
series.
yeah, how do you exactly have all these different factions or whatever, and yeah, that's these courts. Except for the fact that we all start tripping over our tongues between the White Council and the White Court, but it's fine. Y'all know what we mean for real.
White night, summer night, that's nights, were nights, God's nights.
One
fuck.
fine day in the middle of the night, two dead men got up to fight. Back to back, they faced each other, drew their swords, and shot each other. No, deaf policeman heard the noise and came to arrest those two dead boys. And if you think my story's too tall, ask the blind man. He saw it all.
I heard a different version of it, and it's just amazing that I can actually still hear you saying it, even though it's, like, on high speed.
So part of the hunger in that it makes you weaker and moodier, and it just kind of messes up your own sort of pH balance and however it works out.
Eat regularly, eat healthy.
Right.
It fucks with you physically, it fucks with you mentally, it fucks with you emotionally. Have a balanced diet.
Right.
As such for vampires.
Just sucks that it happens to be us. So, yes. And they can't, because Harry's like, well, what if they... And he's like, what if they just choose not? And he's like, choice doesn't really come into it. If they let themselves go far enough, then exactly that portion,
Essentially-
the hunger takes over.
Yeah, he'll lose control. And
You lose control and you
And
will...
he'll go insane is the other part of it. Like,
yeah, you risk going
bonkers.
insane. You risk
Essentially,
that
the hunger
you-
will turn on itself then. It was like, okay, you're not going to find us prey. I'm going to eat you.
Yeah, exactly. Because, yeah, as we're learning, it's kind of this demonic possession of them that they are born. So, again, like you
A
say...
little bit of a
they're-
warlock pack going on.
Yeah, yeah, Thomas is not the supernatural creature in and of himself. He is some kind of possibly humanoid with a demon is what we're,
Warlock Pact?
In D&D, there's different ways to get magic. So, like, sorcerers are born with it. Wizards study it. Warlocks, you make a deal with a greater power than yourself.
So it gives you the power, but you got to do something for it.
So Thomas is a little bit of a vessel versus the other versions of vampires that are the thing.
Becoming the construct or whatever, or transmorgified into.
Okay, cool.
With most of us, most animals, creatures have that, self-preservation, whatever, right? Like, you must breathe, you must eat. Eventually, your body will take over and do something to fulfill those needs, right? If you
Is
cannot...
there a way to separate the hunger from the man? Join us next week when we cover Battleground.
But this is where, because Harry can see that Thomas, right, doesn't want to...
Just 11 books away, okay? We'll get to it.
We're so close. But he doesn't want to kill Justine, right? So again...
At our time frame, how do we figure that is?
25 years.
But yes, it's interesting that exactly so, because Harry can see that Thomas has a reluctance to just feed
On anyone?
nonstop. No, what's the word? Unchecked or whatever off of Justine, right? But he's got to feed, and he doesn't want to be with anybody else. This is who he's with. Because Harry's like inevitably they're going to kill whoever they're with. If they stay with one person for a long time, they will eventually nibble away enough that person
makes
has nothing left.
to being like not unlike the nightmare, a spiritual damage, and vulnerable to control and manipulation.
Yes, so Justine is suffering some of this damage by Thomas feeding off of her, but we've also learned from Justine that Thomas's influence on her quiets her other metaphorical demons, right, and keeps her at a level of sanity. But again, if he does not feed enough, then he'll go insane and he'll end up just killing her in one shot because he'll need a huge, right? So does he feed off of other people so he's spreading it around and it's not all coming from Justine, but he doesn't want to feed off other people because he loves Justine. He just wants to be with Justine. He doesn't want to betray Justine, but so it's this
Delicate balance between the two.
Right.
Yeah.
And the only other thing about it is that we get this sort of idea that people get a regular instinct to avoid the supernatural. It's like kind of like that hindbrain where it's just like, oh yeah, don't associate, don't go down
Something's
that alley.
watching me,
something has kept, the general human population
survival instincts
for whatever reason,
Lizard brain.
and if we haven't seen it already, we'll see it as the series goes, that people get that instinct around Harry too sometimes, where it's just like, oh, this is something much more powerful than me.
Yeah.
I'm not getting involved.
Would that make it a lizard/wizard brain then?
Wizard brain.
Wizard brain? I bet.
But the exception to the rule is the White Court. People are attracted to them. They want to be around them. They go to them. It's this exuding of sexual prowess, and they're also beautiful and lovely and charming. That
Just like sugar, tastes so good.
exactly like the one exception to everyone avoids the supernatural is that people are knocking on the door of the White Council or the White Court, being like, "Hi, hello."
See? Yeah. And Bob makes that note too, that he's like, once you've done it, it becomes easier to,
Vulnerable to more manipulation.
vulnerable to, is that
Although
you're just,
in that case, the venom would be the same way. Once you've already had the venom.
Oh,
They
well,
have
yes,
a lot
to the
of-
reds, yes.
They had a lot of
that's true.
thralls, reoccurring users.
Right.
You're right, yes. The thralls to the vampire spit. It just seems much less gross with the...
Once you're hooked.
Yeah, exactly. That first taste keeps... Which is funny because really it's like you're the first taste. And yet it keeps you coming back.
And I love how this chapter ends, honestly. Harry, 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 what I wouldn't give to be in your shoes this week.
And yeah, it's so cute. Harry blushes like 13 shades of red. And you're like, it's funny because we've commented on how often, right? We're like, Harry walks in and sees a woman. We immediately know like her best facial features and
How big
body
are her boobs
assets,
and-
right? Yet at the same time, Harry is so gentlemanly and
Take my
conservative
coat off and cover her up
and like he's totally embarrassed that he suddenly find out he's going to work on a porn film and it has to be around people having sex all right again, as I'm sure most people in the room probably only get a vague idea of what actually being on a set like that would mean. Just knowing that he's like highly uncomfortable and oh my gosh, this is hee-hee-ha. Yeah.
Did you guys, I forget who posted that now in the Discord, that the spreadsheet, some guy got bored and did a tally of words repeated.
I have not checked that, sorry.
And I think it was the tips of her breasts show up. He puts it 12 times or 24, depending on your definition. It's like, that's awesome. It is pinned in the Discord now.
Yeah.
So.
Is it updated all the way to Battleground?
I'm not sure how far it goes, but it's...
Gotcha. Oh, yes, I'll have to pop in and check that
Harry,
out.
Harry, Harry.
Harry.
all the common words are put in there. It's quite fun.
But yeah, so again, it's that dichotomy with Harry. It's like, again, I don't know if that's just Harry, if it's Butcher trying to... Yeah, I mean, in all fairness, he describes Thomas as being really pretty and stuff like that, too. There are attractive men. So is it just... again, it stands out more the one side to the other because of whatever, but...
Harry lets Bob take Mr. out on the town and be back by sundown. Seems to me, I don't know if he's just getting a little bit soft or feels genuinely sorry for Bob not to get to see all the pretty ladies that he wants
No, I don't think so. I think Harry's had plenty of time to learn now. He's like, Bob, you're just a skeevy little perv. He doesn't really feel a lot of sympathy for...
Yeah, but he's letting him actually go loose, like...
He is, but he's setting him on a mission, right? He's like, go find out where the vamps are bedding down during the day, and... Because that's why he's like, go and mist... Cause,
Go find Mavra.
yeah, because he's like, they can't be out and about during the day. So he's like, but neither can Bob as a spirit of intellect. So he's like, you get to jump into Mister as your little tank, because you can be protected inside there. Mister can go wandering around, go find out where the vamps are sleeping, because hopefully they're all sleeping. It'll be easier for you to poke around and figure this out.
See, and I didn't take it as just that, but like,
Oh.
yes, find the den, but like, have some fun.
Yeah, no, I think that was pretty much just his... Because he basically tells him to not... I think doesn't he basically tell him to behave himself? But I know he tells me to watch out for the wards, because last time he sent him out was when Guard was around and he got zapped, but...
I'm looking for the line in here that made me think that.
I think it's because he says you have my permission to take Mister on the town.
Out on the town.
Out on the town. That's like...
Which generally means go have a
Yes.
fun time,
Right.
but I think Harry's really just like, go fucking do your job.
Yeah, I don't know, because, yeah, you're right. The next morning, he tells him, because he's like, I think Mister likes these, because Mister gets to go see new, exciting things, too, but,
Either way, I think Bob could definitely do his job and get up to some fun.
Either way, he
8 hours of darkness or daylight.
Daylight
or
or whatever. Yeah, he definitely has not put as many restrictions on him as he has before, where he's like, specifically, you are not allowed to go near the college and instigate any orgies or, like, yes, but he basically is like...
But also banking on the fact that he learned his lesson with Marcone's defenses last time, too, and that maybe he doesn't need as many rules, he just knows not to fuck around.
Yeah, so, it's probably a little bit of both. He's like, you've got this job. It's probably going to take you most of the day, so fine. If you have any time left over, I guess you can...
Yeah, you've got a cat, have fun.
You've got it, but yeah, exactly. You're somewhat limited, because exactly, Bob can't leave the cat to go do anything either, so...
I took it as a little leniency.
A little leniency, but yes, he's sending him out on him. He's being proactive. I gotta go catch some shut-eye, and I gotta go to work tomorrow. But you go hunt out the vampires at their most vulnerable and see if you can't get us some info. And yes, I will go ogle pretty girls while you can't, Bob.
This concludes our episode 12.4, Dizzying Heights of Idiocy. Thank you for listening. You can find us online at freeflowrambling.com and McAnallys.ca. There we have links to our podcast, social media, and other fun tidbits. Please subscribe if you like what you're hearing. Please consider supporting us through Patreon to keep the magic alive and to see more content. We are Free Flow Rambling. Contribute at your own risk.